So you've got the RGB lights glowing just right. Your code editor? Dark mode, and of course, with the perfect font. Lo-fi beats hum softly in the background. You post a clean screenshot of your latest project to Twitter. And the replies? Fire setup, bro. This is such a vibe. Bro coding, like it's an anime montage. And you look like a vibe coder. But let's pause here, because looking like a coder, curious isn't the same as being one. Let's step back for a second and ask, what even is a vibe coder? It's that person who turns programming into an aesthetic. They've got the perfect desk setup, minimalist themes, animated wallpapers, maybe a candle lit at 2 a.m. while debugging. Their Notion dashboard, chef's kiss. Their code, color-coded and screenshot ready. And honestly, that's awesome. Let's be real. Coding doesn't have to be ugly. If creating a beautiful space makes you feel motivated, that's not cringe. That's a superpower. Anything that helps you show up to code consistently is valuable. But here's the catch. You can't vibe your way through a failing app. You can't fix memory leaks with ambient lighting. You can't solve a concurrency bug with a cool Z-ish theme. Because eventually, coding gets real. At some point, you'll face a broken backend, or a feature that refuses to work, or a bug that only shows up in production. And when that happens, the vibe alone won't save you. What will save you are fundamentals. Let's talk about that word for a moment. Fundamentals. It's a word we hear a lot. It sounds boring, right? Like something from a textbook. Like something you know you should learn. But keep putting off because you're having too much fun with side projects and font hunting. But fundamentals are the reason anything in code works. They're the invisible skills behind every great app. They're the building blocks behind every clean design. They're the substance behind the style. Let's break it down. You want to be a serious developer? You've got to know how algorithms work. Not to pass interviews, but to write efficient code that scales. What data structures to use, time curve, and when. Because using the wrong one can slow everything down. How APIs work. Not just how to call them, but how to build them cleanly, securely, and reliably. How to write clean, readable code. Not just code that works, but code that can be maintained. How to test your code. Unit tests. Integration tests. Not the sexiest part of coding, but essential for any real-world product. Version control. Because accidentally deleting production code should not be part of your journey. Deployment. Because getting code to run locally is one thing. Getting it to run in the real world is another. These are the skills that don't show up on your Instagram story. They don't fit neatly into a 280-character tweet. They aren't glamorous. They're often frustrating. They take time, practice, repetition. But here's the truth. The coders who launch real products, the ones who ship SaaS tools, contribute to open source, or land jobs at top tech companies, they didn't just vibe their way there, they learned the boring stuff, the hard stuff. The stuff that separates someone who codes from someone who builds. So, does that mean the vibe doesn't matter? Not at all. In fact, I'd argue the vibe does matter, a lot. Because coding is more than just solving problems. It's an experience, a rhythm, a flow. And if building an aesthetic setup helps you find that flow, lean into it, light the candle, set up your perfect color scheme, play your favorite music, make your space feel like a sanctuary for creativity and focus. But here's the key. Don't let the vibe be a mask. Let it be a multiplier for your skills, not a substitute for them. The best coders, they're not just technical, they're intentional. They're the ones who can vibe and build. They ship beautiful products and know how to debug a memory leak at 2 a.m. They post aesthetic screenshots and write tests. They obsess over the little design details and understand the big architectural picture. Because here's a secret, you can be both. You don't have to choose between being a vibe coder and a real one. You can be the one who codes with style and substance. So yeah, enjoy the vibe. Make it fun, make it personal, make it you. But when it's time to build, bring the fundamentals, bring the knowledge, bring the real skills to back it all up. That's where the real magic happens. So here's the challenge for you today. Next time you post a screenshot of your clean code setup, ask yourself, can I explain what this code actually does? Can I fix it if it breaks? Can I improve it to run faster, cleaner, better? If the answer is yes, you're not just a vibe coder. You're a developer, a builder, a creator. And that's something way cooler than just a vibe. So here's where most people mess up. They treat fundamentals like that dusty tutorial playlist they totally plan to finish one day. But guess what? That day doesn't come. Because building flashy projects is way more fun than writing a binary search from scratch. Here's the problem. When things break, and they will break, your aesthetic won't save you. What will? Understanding why things work. That's why you've got to stop skipping the boring stuff. Start asking the annoying questions. Why is this algorithm slow? What happens when too many users hit my app? How do I stop this from crashing again? And again? These questions aren't glamorous. They won't get likes, but they make you dangerous in the best way. Let's say you're building a simple to-do app. Cute, right? But then, users. Suddenly tasks aren't saving. The API is choking. Your database is melting. Now it's not so cute. And here's where knowing how HTTP requests work, or what a transaction is, saves you from a panic spiral. Because fundamentals aren't just for job interviews. They're for every time your app stops doing what it should. Still not convinced? Let's play a game. Imagine your codebase is a house. The vibe coder paints the walls, hangs LED lights, installs a smart speaker. But fundamentals, they're the foundation. They're what keep the roof from caving in when things get heavy. Without them, it's all just pretty rubble waiting to collapse. So, yeah, go ahead. Post that sexy terminal screenshot, but also know what a race condition is, how to avoid SQL injection, why your code runs fine locally but explodes in staging. That stuff's not advanced, it's day one survival. And you know what's underrated? Reading other people's code. Not just skimming through GitHub like you're speed running a cookbook. Actually understanding why did they write it that way? How would you improve it? Because great devs aren't just code writers, they're code readers, debuggers, pattern spotters, and all that takes time. There's no shortcut vibe for that. But here's the good news. The more you sharpen your fundamentals, the more fun coding becomes. Seriously. Because now, when you sit down with lo-fi beats playing, and your custom terminal theme glowing, and that candle flickering in the corner, you're not just pretending, you know your stuff. You've got the vibe and the vision, and suddenly the whole coding experience feels like magic. So yeah, enjoy the vibe, but earn it. Don't be the coder who only looks the part. Be the one who shows up, builds cool stuff, and knows exactly what's happening under the hood. Now that's a real flex. And if you found this helpful, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your favorite coding vibe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build for real.